Welcome back to a brand new legal breaking reporting, ladies and gentlemen. Today we actually have a brand new reporting. In this news breaking reporting, a federal judge has just blocked an anti-voting executive order by Donald Trump to illegally take over elections and require voting, proof of citizenship, excuse me. Well, what type of executive order, in a sense, might I be talking about, and is this judge an activist judge, you guys may be asking? Those of you that are supporters of Trump. The answer to that is no. They are simply doing their job in upholding the Constitution, and he has no authority, is what these judges are saying. Regardless of him being president, the president does not have the authority to just change elections via a stroke of a pen. Let's get into this new reporting by the Democracy Docket. Shout out to Mark Elias and the Democracy Foundation. The article is titled Judge halts Trump's anti-voting executive order. And ladies and gentlemen, that article reads, a U.S. judge Thursday blocked federal agencies from carrying out key parts of President Donald Trump's sweeping executive order on elections. The Democratic Party, the League of the United Latin American Citizens, the League of Women Voters Education Fund, and others are challenging Trump's order, calling it an unprecedented assault on states' constitutional authority to run their own elections, and warning that it could disenfranchise large members of voters. They've already blocked one of his orders in Colorado, rightfully, legally, and constitutionally, regarding his refusal to grant due process in the state of Colorado. So it really does not surprise me, because this was all to be expected. This is nothing out of the ordinary. Continuing with the article, ladies and gentlemen. District Judge Kollar-Kotelly, appointed by former President Bill Clinton, granted the group's request for a preliminary injunction against several parts of Trump's order, though she allowed other provisions to remain in effect. Kollar-Kotelly suggested that the order vastly exceeded the scope of the president's constitutional powers. Quote, the president is free to state his views about what policies he believes that Congress, the EAC, or other federal agencies should consider or adopt, unquote, the judge wrote, adding that, quote, but in this case, the president has done much more than state his views. He has issued an, quote, order, quote, unquote, directing that an independent commission, quote, shall, quote, act to, quote, require, unquote, changes to an important document, the contents of which Congress has tightly regulated, unquote. Quote, our Constitution entrusts Congress and the states, not the President, with the authority to regulate federal elections, unquote, the judge added. Among its many changes, Trump's order directed the U.S. Elections Assistance Commission, the EAC, an independent bipartisan agency, to change a federal voter registration form to require eligible voters to show proof of citizenship. Kollar-Kotelly said the EAC, Election Assistance Commission, commissioners, and other senior commission officials are barred from taking steps to add a proof of citizenship requirement to the form. She said plaintiffs are likely to prevail on their claim that the citizenship requirement is unconstitutional. The requirement would bar millions of voters who lack easy access to citizenship documents from using the National Mail Voter Registration Form, and could force states to rapidly shift their registration procedures if states don't or can't comply. Trump's order directs the EAC, Election Assistance Commission, to punish them by withholding federal funding. The Trump administration argued against the preliminary injunction by claiming that the government has not taken any steps to implement the citizenship requirement. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, the government cannot withhold the EAC's federal funding because it is appropriated by Congress, not the president. The president is hereby ordered by the Constitution to execute laws and fundings that is appropriated and that are appropriated by Congress. He is overstepping his constitutional authority legally or illegally, unconstitutionally, unlawfully, and lawlessly. Continuing with the article, ladies and gentlemen, the legal breaking news reporting. But the Democratic Party last week presented a letter in a court filing first reported by Democracy Docket that suggested the EAC Election Assistance Commission had begun to do so by asking states for input on how to implement the requirement. The Democratic Party is represented in the case by Elias Law Group, ELG. ELG firm chair Mark Elias is the founder of Democracy Docket. Quote, in a short letter revealed, in short, the letter reveals that contrary to the defendant's representation to the court, the EAC Election Assistance Commission has in fact already begun to implement the citizenship requirement, unquote, Kollar-Kotelly said. The judge added that the letter also indicates that the EAC is interpreting the executive order as an, quote, instruction, unquote, and not a suggestion, as the Trump administration argued in court. The EAC's Standards Board Election Assistance Commission's Standards Board, which is composed of over 100 states and local election officials, held a hearing in North Carolina Thursday to discuss the implementation of Trump's order, according to the meeting agenda. Quote, I'm glad to see that the provisions of Trump's unlawful executive order that would have disenfranchised American citizens across the nation have been put to a halt, but the work doesn't stop here, unquote, Colorado's Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold, said in a statement, adding, quote, Trump is abusing his power in an attempt to make it harder for voters to fight back at the ballot box. We cannot let him diminish the strength of our elections or dilute the voice of the American people, unquote. The judge denied plaintiffs' request to halt provisions directing Attorney General Pam Bondi to, quote, take all necessary action, unquote, against any states that count absentee or mail-in ballots received after Election Day, and directing the EAC Election Assistance Commission to withhold federal funding from states that count votes they received after Election Day. Which, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if you ask me, that's completely bullcrap and illegal for Pam Bondi to do. Because she is not Congress. She does not get the right to direct the EAC to withhold federal funding. Federal funding is not even supposed to be withheld uh, by the Election Assistance Commission. The judge said the objections against those provisions were premature or should be brought by states. Democratic attorneys general in 19 states have challenged the mail voting provision in their own lawsuit against Trump's order. For now, Kollar-Kotelly also declined to bar federal agencies from giving state officials access to federal systems to verify the citizenship or immigration status of people registering to vote or who are already registered. She also declined to block Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency from reviewing states' public voter registration lists. However, the judge warned that could change if the plaintiffs show that the agencies and DOJ have, quote, a specific imminent plan, unquote, to violate the Privacy Act and other federal laws. This story is a breaking news story. Please check back for additional information. Which, ladies and gentlemen, which means that stay tuned for part 2 of this legal breaking story. Firstly, for now, that's going to be all that we have for the video. If you did enjoy this video, please, and legal breaking reporting, the first part anyway, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and enjoy. Secondly, if you want to stay up to date on all the things legal breaking reporting on the side of politics, please consider hitting the bell icon that is right next to the subscribe button down below on the right hand side and hitting the all notifications options. Thirdly, you can also stay up to date on all the things legal breaking on the side of politics by following me on my social medias that I will have linked down below in the video description. I am on Instagram, Snapchat, and Threads. Fourthly, ladies and gentlemen, please stay positive, stay safe, and know that justice will prevail on the correct side of the law despite Donald Trump and his illegal regimes and administration's unconstitutional, illegal executive orders and actions and behaviors. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, please help me reach and achieve the goal of 160 subscribers. 160 plus subscribers. The reason why I'm saying 160 plus subscribers is because right after we reach and achieve the goal of 160 subscribers, we have more subscribers to reach and achieve right after we achieve and reach the goal of 160 subscribers. For now, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for today's for this legal breaking episode and video. If you For now, please stay positive and please stay safe, and I will talk to you in the next legal breaking reporting.